Hey everybody, Ben Fairfield here, talking to you today about The Dip by Seth Godin. Great book. We've already done a couple videos on it. If you haven't seen them, check out benfairfield.com to be caught up to speed. But today we're really going to look at what specifically is The Dip. Paint this picture in your head with me while I'm talking about this, right? So, because I know you guys have all been there. You can all relate to this. When you first started something, whether it was a real estate career or a career of any kind of sales, you first started, you were energized, you were passionate, you were excited to be doing what you were doing. Every day you got up, you were excited to go to work because of what could be. It was, right, the big carrot on the end of the stick, what could be there, what you're working towards. And over the course of the first few weeks or days, your rapid learning and how much you're taking in kept you going, kept you excited, kept you motivated. And that goes for a while, and then the dip happens. Now, the dip is a long stretch between beginner's luck and real achievement. I wanted to read you guys a quote that Seth actually writes in the book here. He says, "The dip is the long slog between starting and mastery." And we talked about mastery. Mastery takes an average of 10,000 hours. For a person to be masterful at something, studies show it takes an average of 10,000 hours. How many hours have you put into what you're doing? A long slog that's actually a shortcut because it gets you where you want to go faster than any other path. And that's really the key. The key is, how do we choose to see the dip? Because a lot of people, your competition that's not in the business anymore, saw the dip, found that they were in the middle of the dip, and chose to quit right in the middle of the dip. Now, it's good for you, but it's not good for them. And I don't want you to fall victim to the same trap. So the one example that Godin really uses in here that I thought really was perfect for the dip is he talks about, how many of you have been to trade shows? I know a lot of you have. So when you're at a trade show, you see dozens and dozens and dozens of new companies that didn't exist last year that have spent a ton of time and money and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into getting their business marketable, renting the space at the trade show to try to break into a lucrative market. Now, what happens the next year? Majority of them are gone. The reason they're gone is because they hit the dip. So the dip is really something that we should embrace. We should use to propel ourselves to our goals and where we want to go, but you have to be able to identify the dip versus the one other situation he talks about in the book is called the Cul-De-Sac. Now, I know a lot of you probably are laughing hearing that because you know exactly what I'm talking about. We all find ourselves in cul-de-sacs from time to time. The cul-de-sac is where no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work, how much you try, whatever you do, you just keep going round and round and round. You don't get better, you don't get worse, you just stay where you are. So the important part of today's message that I got from the dip that I wanted to share with you guys is you have to identify if you're on a cul-de-sac or if you're just in the dip. Now, one thing about the dip is winners never quit in the dip. You either quit on the front end or you wait until you're propelled through. But if you find yourself in the middle of the dip, that's the time to decide the strategy, the training, the tools, and the systems that you need to do in order to get yourself out of the dip and propel yourself to success. And more importantly, like we talked about in the first video, what you need to quit. So identify, are you in a dip or are you in a cul-de-sac? And take the appropriate steps. Check out our website, benfairfield.com, for downloads on the dip and the 7 ways to find out if you're in one. Have a good day.